Let's look at your odds and draws from week 8 of the fantasy basketball season coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. We're going to do the over-under report for week 8 of the fantasy basketball season. We're going to take a look at 5 guys to add. We actually got 4 guys to drop, 1 to hold. We'll talk about that here in just a second. For your teams and stuff here for this week. Let's start with the drops. We have, starting in the Clippers, we talk about him here a lot. John Wall, 25 minutes per game last week here, 11.3 points per game, 3 rebounds, 7.7 assists, 1 steal. 32% from the field, 64% from the line. He's currently owned in 60% of Yahoo leagues. There's a revolving door in LA for the Clippers there. John Wall is currently coming off the bench when Jackson is starting. He did actually get a start because Jackson was out, but still not really impressing fantasy managers here. The 7.7 assists is of course nice, but the shooting, he hasn't been really a great shooter for his career, and he's currently sporting his career low in free throw percentage. 67.4%. It's not exactly something you want to carry for a guard. So hoping to see that improves, of course. I mean, John Wall is a great character for the league, but for your fantasy teams here, you could do much better than that. Drop, if you need assists, keep him on your team. If you don't need assists, then take a look to see if you can pick up something that's a little bit hotter than John Wall. Next up in the Oklahoma City Thunder lineup, we got Lugens Dort. We talked about him in the past year as well, kind of on both sides of the ledger. Right now, he's a prime drop candidate here. Last week, he posted 9.0 points, 5.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists in 27 minutes, 27% from the field, 100% from the line. His numbers are regressing a bit from last year. He's not a good shooter there as well, similar to John Wall. His current season, he's averaging just slightly over 30 minutes per game, which is good to get, but he becomes much more harder to swallow on your team here when he's averaging less than 30 minutes per game. He was 27 minutes last week here. So if he doesn't have the opportunities, those poor percentages really come into play, and you're not going to get a whole lot of stats from him here. Good rebounder for a guard, but other than that, he needs to get back up into that 30-minute threshold to be a mainstay on a fantasy basketball team. Next, we have from the Denver Nuggets, we got Bruce Brown. He had 29 minutes per game last week, 60% owned in Yahoo leagues, 8.7 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 50% from the field, 67% from the line. Michael Porter Jr. has got questionable tags over the last week, which kind of signifies that he's going to be ready to go here shortly, and then Bruce Brown's minutes, I imagine, will take a major dip. He doesn't take a whole lot of shots on offense to begin with. I think he's under 7 shots per game last week. So when Michael Porter Jr. returns, that's going to mean less offense for Bruce Brown. He's still going to chip in with your secondary stats, your rebounds, your assists and such, but going to become much more of a glue guy. Kind of similar to this next guy we're going to talk about here, Royce O'Neal. 55% owned in Yahoo leagues, 37 minutes per game, so he's getting a lot of minutes still. But his shooting woes from this past week is really hurting him for his production. He has 4.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. Low attempts too. I think he was 5 or 6 attempts per game last week. Career low in field goal percentage and free throw percentages really is making him just a really difficult person to have on a squad right now. I've got him in a couple of my leagues here. I'm hanging on to him just to kind of hope for a turnaround for him to regress back to his average numbers, which would likely add a couple more points per game to his total. He's certainly getting the minutes still in Brooklyn, but if he's going to have a hard time producing, and when Ben Simmons actually takes the floor again, I imagine that Royce O'Neal will likely take will likely get less minutes going forward here as well. So somebody that I'm kind of teetering on dropping him here, but he can't really continue going the way that he is currently. Otherwise, he will be gone from most teams. I imagine he might be sinking below 50% by the end of the week if he can't improve on his numbers. Now, we've got a hold, player that you should hold if you've got him on your squad here. From the Indiana Pacers, we have Jalen Smith, 68% owned in Yahoo leagues. He had 18 minutes per game last week, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 44% shooting from the field, 67% from the line. I would say not to give up on him. He was nursing an injury last week, so he had a couple of games where he didn't really post a whole lot of minutes. He is still a pretty big part of that rotation. He's your 1 3-pointer, 1 block per game kind of player, which is pretty handy to have as a center. And he could be in for a big minutes gain, of course, if the Pacers trade Miles Turner, which is a definite possibility as the season goes on, especially if Indiana starts falling down the standings, which I still think they're going to do it. They're really being paced, all puns intended there, by Tyrese Halliburton, but I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it up over the course of the whole season. So I would hang on to Jalen Smith just to kind of see how that plays out. Don't give up on him yet, even though he's had a pretty bad week here last week. All right, let's go to some ads. We have, starting in Orlando, Markelle Fultz, 27 minutes per game. He got 10.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 44% from the field, 100% from the line. Fultz and Anthony were spotted both on the floor at the same time in the last game. Fultz is also a very useful guard. 4 assists. I imagine the 3.8 that he got last week is actually more of a floor. I would imagine he could probably post closer to 5 assists per game on the regular. And currently this year, he's posting 45% three-pointers made, which is easily a career high for him. So if he can keep that up here, that would really add for the reasons why you should keep him on your squad. Next up, we've got Lonnie Walker the fourth, 49% owned in Yahoo leagues, 29 minutes per game, 13 points, 2.3 rebounds, 45% shooting from the field, 100% from the line. He is a straight shooter. He doesn't do a whole lot else in Lakerland, but he's currently the third option on offense, so that speaks volumes for what he could churn out here for your team. Yeah, not going to give a whole lot of defensive stats, but he had 2.3 three-pointers per game made last week, so he's going to be a huge plus for that. So if you're looking for points in three-pointers, if you've got a pretty solid defensive team, Lonnie Walker might be worth a look for you to pick up here for your squad. Up next in OKC, a very polarizing player. He's featured on he's been featured in our drop list and our ad list here. He's currently back on the ad list. Aleksej Pokusevski, 45% owned, 23 minutes per game last week, 9.3 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.3 blocks, 41% shooting from the field, 50% from the line. His last game is really where we see the potential. This could be kind of what you could expect from a guy like Pokusevski if he's given the minutes. He had 16 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. And I think he had I think it was 3 3-pointers made he had that in that game there as well. So that's just, he had, 34, 35 minutes I think he got in that game. So he's shooting the ball a lot better than he has been in his career. He's actually up 5% field goal percentage here over the for his career. He's up that this year, and then he's also up 11% in three-pointers. So his shooting is getting better, and that was a big knock on him going into the league, is that he just was a very poor technical shooter. He still is erratic at times. It's still not completely refined, but he's taking better shots. He's making better decisions when he's driving. He really could be a big player for the Thunder this year if he can stay on this track and continue to get minutes like he did in the last game. Up next for the Utah Jazz, we have Walker Kessler, 46% owned in Yahoo leagues, 22 minutes per game last week, 8.7 rebounds, 9.0 assists, 2.7 blocks, 75% from the field, 67% from the line. He was a massive block leader at Auburn, and it's translating over into the NBA. He has the highest block rate in the NBA with at least 15 minutes per game played, and his minutes are starting to creep up. So this is exactly when you want to buy in on a Walker Kessler, because if he continues going up in minutes, if he's going to get towards the mid-20s, high 20s, he's going to be that double-double threat with a huge amount of blocks that's going to help your squad out. Think a Clint Capella type or Mitchell Robinson type player, low scoring, like low mid-teens potential, 10 rebounds plus per game, but he's really going to be giving you blocks. That's going to be his main source of fantasy relevance. So definitely pick him up if you can get your hands on him. Last but not least, we have Jalen Duren, 38% owned in Yahoo Leagues, 24 minutes per game last week, 7.3 points, 10.5 rebounds on 81% shooting from the field, 75% from the line. He is now crowned as the new starting center in Detroit. He's an excellent rebounder, probably one of the better ones in the league right now. And he's an athletic big, so he's going to get you steals and blocks on the regular there as well. Now that he's given the keys to the center position, I imagine that he is going to be another double-double nightly threat. So if he's sitting out in your league, I would strongly recommend giving him a shot to see how he's going to perform. And that's going to do it here for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content here, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. We try to put one of these episodes out weekly, so make sure you don't miss it there. But that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys again. We're going to sign off for now, but we are going to catch you guys on our next week's episode.